The Passion of the Christ, the most famous Christian film of all time, which recounts the last 12 hours of Jesus' life, beginning with his arrest and ending with his crucifixion. The film, which reviews the tortures suffered by the Messiah with incredible detail and precision, is well known to everyone. But there is something few people know, and that is that behind the scenes, truly incredible things happened. From men converting to the gospel to mysterious people who appeared and disappeared without leaving a trace. Welcome to Following Christ, and in today's video, I will tell you the secrets behind the Passion of the Christ. Our story begins with the film's protagonist, the actor Jim Caviezel. Jim was chosen by Mel Gibson to portray Jesus. He tells the story that when the director called him, he was blunt. "Jim, this role could get you blacklisted from Hollywood forever." The actor asked for 24 hours to think about his decision, and he ultimately accepted the role of the Savior. As a curious fact, Jim was 33 years old when he portrayed Jesus in 2004. In addition, his name has the same initials as Jesus Christ, J and C. Too many coincidences together to begin with. The actor first had to learn the phonetics of Aramaic and Latin, and some short lines of Hebrew in order to portray Jesus of Nazareth in a realistic way. But these challenges would be child's play compared to what he would have to face later on, because the working conditions were extreme for the protagonist. According to sources close to the production, his makeup required 8 hours of work. He was called in at 2 in the morning so they could finish around 10 and begin filming. Filming was interrupted to make touch-ups, and if bad weather forced them to suspend the takes, he had to sleep with the makeup on. The special resistant products could only be removed with a long and furious shower with very, very hot water. At one point, neither the showers nor the makeup removers were effective, and his skin began to be covered with blisters that, at the slightest contact with clothing or sheets, caused him intense pain, preventing him from sleeping or even minimally resting. But if preparing a scene was costly, filming them was something downright brutal. For the Calvary scene, Jim carried a cross weighing about 154 pounds. The weight was so great that it dislocated his shoulder, a situation that was captured on screen. The crucifixion was even worse. In pursuit of realism, Mel Gibson decided to hang him on a cross for around 2 weeks. The actor spent several hours suspended high above in the middle of winter with extremely low temperatures and barely covered with a loincloth. The inevitable happened. Small bouts of hypothermia began to affect him. His muscles shook so violently that they decided to bring him 3 heaters, which provided temporary relief since they worked well with the wind. But if the weather calmed down, they could end up burning his legs. As time went on, the situation kept getting recorded. The cold froze his lips, and the assistants would pass him hot cloths so that he could mutter a word. But neither cloths nor heaters were enough, and Jim ultimately ended up with a pneumonia attack. On another day, a storm began, and a lightning bolt struck him directly. Yes, just as you're hearing it, Caviezel suffered an electric shock that burned part of his hair, although incredibly he suffered no major consequences. For some, of course, this was a miracle, but for skeptics it is nothing more than a matter of luck. What do you think? Was this truly a miracle, or was the fact that a lightning bolt struck and only burned a little of his hair merely a matter of chance? Leave your opinion below in the comments box, and while you're there, I invite you to subscribe and activate the bell so YouTube notifies you every time we upload a new video. But now let's get back to the video. The actor's suffering had not ended yet. There was still a bit more. Before being crucified, according to the Gospels, Jesus was flogged by the soldiers. When recreating the situation, to protect the protagonist, something was placed on his back, a metal plate. But when striking, one of the actors miscalculated and tore his skin. Jim was left without air and unable to breathe from the pain. When they approached to assist him, they discovered a deep wound stretching nearly a foot across his back. They treated it, but the situation was so traumatic that when trying to redo it, the actor would flinch and turn his head, unable to control the panic. Because of this, it was decided that the soldier actors would use only the wooden handles, and the whips had to be added digitally. Without a doubt, any actor, faced with half of the challenges Jim endured, would have quit, or at least asked the production for a team of doubles. But he did not, and the reason will surprise you. Jim took his work as a spiritual experience. Mel Gibson even asked him if he wanted to continue with the film, and the answer he received was, "I'm going to continue. This is between God and me." And the fact is that Jim was a believer, is a believer, and he was convinced that his destiny was to go through that Calvary in order to achieve the most realistic performance possible. Of course, if his portrayal was praised by critics and audiences, Jim would be happy. But his central objective, his main objective, was to be able to reaffirm his own faith. The actor claimed to feel the presence of Jesus at certain moments during the shoot. That presence inspired him to say the following prayer: "I don't want people to see me. I only want them to see Jesus. Through that, conversions will happen." And it seems that the prayer had an effect. During the Via Crucis scene, the extras hired, upon seeing him pass by, would spontaneously kneel. And outside the script, the Italian actor Pedro Cerruti, who portrays Barabbas in the film, the thief released instead of Jesus, when representing that part, felt that it was not Jim, that it was not the actor who looked at him, but Jesus himself. His eyes had no hatred or resentment toward me, only mercy and love. As this is what the actor who played Barabbas, Pedro, expressed. Someone who experienced a profound conversion that he captured in his book, From Barabbas to Jesus. Converted by a gaze, a true madness. But Barabbas was not the only one. Luca Lionello, the actor who portrayed Judas, was a declared atheist before beginning the shoot. But when it ended, he converted to Christianity. One of the technical chiefs, who was Muslim, also converted to Christianity. As if that were not enough, some producers claimed to have seen some mysterious people dressed in white giving advice. But when filming ended, they never appeared again. Without a doubt, Jim's sacrifice was worth it. Countless lives have been transformed by his wonderful portrayal of the Passion of Jesus. However, despite these tremendous stories, there was also a bitter pill for our protagonist. And that is that, just as Mel Gibson predicted at the very beginning, Jim stopped appearing on movie marquees. His acting career almost came to a standstill, an end point for Hollywood. Directors stopped calling him, and his fame in the world began to decline. Nevertheless, Jim does not reject the role. He embraces it firmly and says that it is part of the cross one accepts when believing in Jesus. We all have the desire to be loved, but we should ask God for the desire for humility. If you liked it, giving it a like would be a great help. Commenting your opinion, even more so.